Hello, this is a help video for how to solve systems of equations algebraically. So you're going to see in this unit what's nice about it and kind of what's difficult about it is that there are so many different ways to solve all of these systems. So, I want you to, when you're going through the lessons, try and focus on learning each strategy as they're trying to teach them to you. But when you get to that test, when you get to that end point, you can choose whatever strategies work best for you. So the first question, I'm going to work through how to solve the system by substitution. And again, even for this problem, there's a couple ways to do it. So bear with me and I'll go through each one of the methods. The first thing to point out is that they are in the directions giving you a hint on what you need to do. We need to substitute. Okay. In a very basic sense, substituting is replacing one thing for another. If I am out sick, you will get a substitute teacher. They are filling in my position. So, when you have equations and things, we're pretty familiar with saying, okay, x equals 3, and I need to plug that in here. You might be comfortable with just plugging in a single number. Now we're getting to the point where we're still substituting. We're going to be plugging one thing in for another, but we're going to plug in an entire equation. Okay? Now, the problem will work whether you solve for x and plug that in or you solve for y and plug it in. But you want to make a smart choice. So first thing I'm going to do is look at these two equations, and I'm going to try and see if there's a variable that's by itself that has a 1 in front of it. And I see this y here. Okay, that means that this equation is going to be the easiest to get that variable by itself, right? You could do the problem and get the exact same answer if you chose the x instead, or even the second equation. You can choose any variable or any equation, but the smart way to do it, the quicker way to do it, is to try and isolate the one that's already by itself. Now that I have y is equal to negative 2x minus 11, instead of the y here, I can replace it with negative 2x minus 11 because this tells me that they're equal. So that's what I'm going to do. So instead of y, I'm going to plug in, substitute this whole expression. Okay, make sure you put parentheses around it. Then I need to solve for x. Distribute following your order of operations. Go ahead and combine like terms. Okay, and so I've solved for x. I'm not done yet because I need to know y. So there's two substitutions. You need to solve for one of the variables and substitute that in the second equation. And now that I know x equals negative 3, I can go back and substitute this negative 3 in for x. Again, it will work for either equation. All right, because when we say solve the system, we're looking for which point is true for both of them. And since they're true for both, it doesn't matter which one you pick. So again, make things easy on yourself. Choose whichever equation is easier to simplify. So for me, that's 2x plus y, because the numbers are just smaller there. I'd rather work with 2 and 1 than 3 and 4. But again, you'll get the same answer. So instead of x, I'm going to substitute my negative 3. And now I know which solutions, when x is negative 3 and y is negative 5, that makes both of these equations true. All right, so there's your first method for solving these. Another way to solve this problem, because it's multiple choice and they're already giving you options for your answers, is to go through and plug them back in. Again, substituting, does 3 and 5 work? Does -5 and -3 work? Does -3 and -5 work, or 5 and 3 work? And again, use the calculator to help you speed up this process. So I'm going to do, let's try A. 2 times 3 plus y, so I'm plugging in a 3 for x and a 5 for y, equals 11. That it doesn't equal the -11. So I know I can cancel this as an option, because when x is a +3, the equation's not true. It means it's not a solution. Let's try the next one. 2 times -5 plus -3. And again, it's not giving me a true solution. Let's try C. All right, now I get one that works for the first equation. But remember, we're looking for the answer that's true for both of them. So if it worked in the first, I just need to check and make sure it works in the second as well. So now I have 3x minus 4y equals 11. Substitute the -3 in for x and the -5 in for y. And I get a +11. C is my answer that works for both. So it is the solution for the system of equations. Okay? And now the third way to do this problem is, again, to use the calculator. And it says to solve by substitution, but I can use the calculator to graph them and check my answer. Again, you can use these as a method or use it as a way to check your answer to make sure that you've done the algebra correctly. So if I want to use these on the calculator, they again need to be solved for y. And we're going to solve both of those for y. Okay, and then we're going to plug these in. Y equals -2x minus 11. And y equals 3 over 4x minus 11 over 4. You can graph it and see where they cross. If you press the trace button, you can move your mouse over to see where those intersect. So it's very close to -3 and -5. Or you can press the yellow button and graph again, and it'll give you your table. And you're looking for where your numbers are the same. So again, I can see when x is -3, y is going to be -5 for both of them. Right? And there's even a fourth method that you can use to have the calculator do it for you. It's called solving with the matrix, but you'll see that in the videos for your upcoming lessons. So again, whatever method makes the most sense to you, you can definitely solve it out algebraically by solve for y, plug that in, and then plug it in again to solve for x. Whenever you have multiple choice, make sure that you go through and plug in all of your answers. And you can use that to confirm which one is correct. Or as long as you solve it for y, you can graph any equation at all and check the points and the graph as well. So 3 different ways to do this problem and make sure that you're earning the points you need to do well in the class.